Welcome to the show which keeps you, the public, informed about what's going on in the world of computers and related technologies. Tonight is a very special moment, as I am sad to say and regret that this will be my final show. VPW over the past few months have been making major changes to allow for others to put together shows, and they have had to clear the entire slate of current shows and revise their programming policies. As a result, my show will conclude production as of tonight, and the very last date to see my show will be on October the 4th at 8:30 p.m. Tonight, I will be highlighting special moments I have had on the show with video footage and talking with some special guests that I have with me tonight and that have appeared on the show in the past. I have produced over 100 shows covering the widest array of topics I could present. I did some 4-part series. Others was interfacing taped footage with on-air guests and, of course, live on-air demos of software and hardware. Before I was on the station, I had never thought about actually being on TV and being deeply involved with broadcasting. But now this has been all changed, as I've been here for the past 7 years at VPW 11 Studios and have producing shows for you to watch and inform you, the public. And I find that this is a very good way of communicating a message across to the people through either radio or television. My show over the past 6 years has been of great service and value to the regular viewers who have tuned in, and I'm sure they will be sadly missed by everyone that was involved at one point or another with the show. Now, over the years, my show did take on a more professional look and appeal to it. I also became more involved by covering major computer trade shows, such as the Computer Expo 92, Computer Focus 92, the Office and Technology Show 93, and the latest one, the Winnipeg Computer Show 93, which I will have some footage of tonight. Now, I also had the opportunity to be at the Red River X last year and interview a specialist in the area of holography and 3D TV technology. And I just want to mention some other topics I've done. I did topics such as Graph Show, talking about graphics packages. I had Corel Draw on to show Corel Draw 3.0. I also talked about a word processing conversion program. And I want to make mention that I did have one guest that flew in all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, to be on my show. Specifically, they came down to demonstrate a program from Keyword Office Technologies. So as you can see, I had a great array of guests. I also had some important people from the local computer stores around the city talk about laser products, recharging laser cartridges, and re-inking computer printer ribbons. I did a lot of shows on tutorials, such as teaching you how to use the modem and the BBS. This was actually a 4-part series where I took you step by step and showed you exactly how what a modem is, how it worked, and how to log on to a BBS, and that was done live. Now, other shows that I've done have been consumer type of shows where I've informed you, the viewer, on if you're going out to look for a computer, what you should be looking for. And I actually developed a little checklist that I read off over the air, and I actually told you what questions to ask when you go out to see a store that you should be looking at as far as current technologies and old technologies. So I did shows like that. And I did a lot of shows that featured different types of computer topics, such as Atari, which you saw in my last show. I've also had the Macintosh computer on. I've had the Amiga on, demonstrating desktop publishing with the Amiga. I've had the Amiga 500 and 1000. And I've also had different types of hardware add-ons, such as telecommunication devices. I've talked about telecommunication services, such as 1-800, 1-900 services, and voicemail products. The mandate of my show was always to keep on top of the latest technology out there, and I felt that I had done that, whereas I was always on top of the latest trade shows out there, the latest technology, and tried to either film it or bring the guests on. One other special guest I had on, I was fortunate to have an inventor on that invented something called the shareware vending machine. It's a machine that actually you can get discs out of it, and it has over 30,000 different programs. So I was fortunate to have the inventor of that machine on and I'd be happy to say he's doing very well nowadays, and he's expanding right across the world. So those were some of the shows that I had done, and I've just brought with me today Robert Lee. He's the editor of the Computer Post, and he might want to talk about my involvement with his Computer Post newspaper, because he actually did some write-ups in the newspaper talking about my show and different events that I was covering. So maybe, Robert, you would like to give some comments about how you saw me fit into the computer world.
I find that, Barry, your contribution to the local scene of computers have been quite well known and have been approved and loved by all the people I talk with. So I think you actually did a good service through your shows and through my newspaper.
Okay, and I also have Bill Lawrence, which has seen some of my shows, and I've actually been out to the Amiga Users Group meeting. And what kind of comments would you say, Bill, on the show as far as you see it, how it helped your Amiga Users Group, or what it did for you?
I speak appreciatively, and as a user of computers, you cover just about every platform, and I commend you for that. I like the way you approached everything with an even hand and all fair, and the way you approached the topics that were discussed about every kind of a computer peripheral, hardware, software, that I found very educational, and I know everybody else did too.
Okay. And maybe you can mention, Bill, since you're involved with the Amiga Users Group, I understand that you've actually moved your location of your meeting?
The Amiga Manitoba User Group will be meeting now at Daniel McIntyre Collegiate Multi-Purpose Room, western entrance, northwest parking lot, I believe. The date has also changed. It will be now the last Wednesday of every month, and it will be at 7:30 p.m.
Okay. And what topic would you be showing this month?
Well, coming up, I think the executive has to meet first, and we haven't done that yet.
Okay, so there's no topic scheduled?
Not yet, no.
Okay. And I'd just like to mention additional note too. The Winnipeg PC User Group has been a big help in supporting me by announcing upcoming shows in their newsletter, and also on the radio program I was fortunate to be on a few weeks ago. They did announce a few times about my TV show. So I'd just like to thank the Winnipeg PC User Group for that. I appreciate that a lot. Now, one person that got involved in my show in very late a few years ago, his name was Daryl Kaminsky. He actually put together the intro and extra you see of the opening program. The intro being the opening 30-second cut of the show, and the extra being the closing cut. This was put together on the NewTek Video Toaster, and it was Bill, I believe, that told me about a little bit about the toaster and what its capabilities were, and I basically approached Daryl and asked him if he could do something like that for my show, and he put together this, and it's been very well received. It's given the show a very high-tech feel to it, comparative to the other shows you might see on national networks or on public broadcasting stations. So that was very appreciative of Bill letting me know about the Video Toaster. I was fortunate to attend one of their meetings when I believe you did have the toaster out and demonstrated. That was over at Manitoba Hydro Building?
That would have been a couple of years ago, I guess,
couple of years
when we
ago.
had that.
That's right. And they also did have the Video Toaster over at the computer show this year, and John O'Neill now is working that Video Toaster. Now, the company that actually did a little bit of sponsorship with me that Dale did work for was called Photo Video, and they had a little arrangement where I just gave their name mentioned on the air, and in return they allowed Daryl to go out to all these different places, spend endless man-hours filming the different events. Then on top of that, he would take the raw footage back to the store on his own time, and he would edit it down so that it could fit in an appropriate time slot. So Daryl spent a lot of hours working for free, and I really thank him for that. Now he has moved on to Banff, Alberta, and he's fortunate enough to be taking a virtual reality course out there. So for the next year, he'll be taking a course in this area, and probably when he gets back, maybe he'll be doing a report out here on what exactly he learned, and hopefully he'll bring some videotape footage. And he told me that next year in May, they're actually going to be having a cyberspace convention out there, to do with virtuality, and he'll be probably taking part in that too. So that was one person that was immense help to me in supporting me in giving the show a better look to it, because over the years my show has come a long ways. If somebody remembers the early shows, I basically started out with a piece of paper with a picture on it and caught that on camera, and as time evolved I got into video and more sophisticated things, again using the latest technology out there that is applicable to broadcasting. And there is lots of software out there, and if you can find people to do it for you, and they also see that you're doing a great service to the community, they are more than happy to help you out. And Darryl was one of those people, and I really appreciate everything he did, and I just can't thank him enough. I would also like to thank the various telephone operators that have helped out with the phone, because when I was producing live shows, there were extra people on hand to answer the phones, take the live calls, and screen the calls. And there were different people that did answer the phone, and I'd like to thank them too. There were also people that were responsible for helping me with the setup of the props and the equipment on stage. I'd like to thank those people too. And a lot of people may not realize it, but over the past 7 years, and because community broadcasting the way it is, when you produce shows out of video on cable or any public access TV station, no matter where it is, this is a totally unpaid position. You basically work on your own merits, your own time, your own self-initiatives, and your own ambitions. So however hard you want to work in putting together a show, then that's what will come out of it. So I felt that the show that I wanted to produce just wasn't a show and I would just throw something together just at the last moment and just haphazardly. I put a lot of thought into the show I did, because I also researched a lot of the topics out in the field, contacted many companies, and see what was suitable at the time that I was trying to put together the next show. So I found a lot of people came forward and they say, well, we've got something on, for instance, video cards. Somebody came down from a computer store and actually talked a lot about video cards, being that there might be a lot of people out there that are quite confused about the ins and outs of buying a video card or even a computer. So whenever I put together a show, I would always put a lot of foresight into it, a lot of thought, and consider it as a timely topic, because you wouldn't want to talk about 10-year-old technology, being that computer technology is advancing quite fast. And maybe you would agree with me that, Robert, that the technology is going so fast that it's hard to keep up to it.
Very hard, yes.
So we, people in the media always try to keep one step ahead. Sometimes it's difficult, but we try to do our best to keep ahead.
Well, as a media, we get lots of news releases from different vendors. They like to get onto the newspaper free, because that's how they get onto it, by sending us things to come to be sold ahead of time. So we write something about it usually.
Right. Okay. So I just like to mention further that I did bring some footage down tonight of 2 events which I'll be showing. One is the Computer Expo 93. I took about 2 hours worth of footage of this show. I spent both days there. They were long days, 12-hour days, manning a booth. I would like to thank the Elsie Group for offering me the free booth. Robert, I appreciate that, and your other partners. Otherwise, I could not take the show to and have everybody know about the show.
I remember seeing you there, walking around with a heavy camera.
So I did take a lot of footage at the show, and I actually captured a lot of information on tape, which I now have, and I'll be showing some footage of that tonight. And the other tape I brought with me tonight, which I will be involved with after the show leaves the air, and I take a serious interest in this too, is the Windows Special Interest Group. Now, I got involved in this group last year, and I am taking a more serious involvement with this group, and now that I have a bit more time, I'm able to get deeper involved with this. So I have a new person that's now come aboard with the Windows Special Interest Group. His name is Anthony Hill. He is now my project coordinator, and he was another person that put in long hours on the Saturday of the computer show that was on May the 8th, as he filmed a lot of the different booths, went around with me, and we interviewed different people. Now there was a lot of noise at the show, so some of the footage you hear you may not be able to pick up the footage, but you will see the visual aspects of it. And the thing that I thought that you would be most fascinated by, being that this technology is really going off in a big way, is virtuality. Virtuality, I'm finding that is being around more and more. There are more applications. And I would like to show you a little bit, a local company in the city, what they're doing on virtuality. And maybe we can run a few minutes of this right now, and I'll just explain to you what you're seeing. Now this is a president of the Liquid Image Corporation. He's basically showing you exactly what's going on with the pictures you're seeing now.
There's a lot to be said about where VR is right now. A lot of people say, since it's been around since the 60s, look at the computer industry, it's been taking off. This is still in its infant stage. The markets have not been even tapped for 1%. The people aren't really accepting it very well because of it's very high cost to get into. To be really good, this is great for in-house demos and doing things at home or doing things in the office. To get to really high-end stuff, which is the next thing we can show you, we'll have it on monitor or overheads, but that is where people are going to start to move to, and that makes it financially feasible. There's other architectural clients right now in Seattle that strictly use virtual reality to develop high-rises. They've taken the development down from 2 years down to a year. It's just the client down in a room like this. They CAD it up, whatever they want, and then the guys can say, no, I don't like the door there. They can move the door there. I don't like the height of the building, they can make it smaller, taller. I like the colors. All the colors are used very rapid. Like that. We're going to move on to Straylight. We'll move on to Straylight. It'll take a few seconds. But when I move my...
Okay, so there you see a little bit about what virtuality is. Now, there was an opening statement that he made that a lot of people may not be aware of, but apparently virtuality is being used in surgery using robotics arm and virtuality combined, and I don't know if you have any comments on that, Robert, being that you were the person that brought
I read
person
something
in.
about it. They talk about using virtual reality to train surgeons, train doctors, that because this gives them such a realistic experience, it saves a lot of cost from the actual getting a doctor, get to the actual patients there.
And I also remember hearing in his opening remarks, too, that he said there's work being done on virtual networks in Calgary.
Quite a lot,
I don't
yes.
know if you know anything about that, but apparently virtuality. By the way, Robert does have a write-up in the paper about a virtuality item that's you might want to mention
Yes,
possibly to our
actually
viewers.
we're going to cover more on this topic in our November issue.
In your November issue. Okay. And like I mentioned, that in Alberta right now, in Banff, Alberta, there is actually a school that does teach virtuality courses. Now, when the person, Daryl, originally investigated where he could take these courses, he only found 2 in North America. One was in the USA, and one was in, of all places, Banff, Alberta. But apparently in Calgary, they are working very heavily in this virtuality field, and they are working at from the arts perspective as to say how it relates to the arts world in virtuality. So he'll be documenting all of this. That will be part of his job, and he'll probably be having a project at that cyberspace convention in May, and hopefully when he gets back he'll have something on videotape, and perhaps in the future, if there's an opportunity, I might be able to bring that to the TV for those people that would miss that footage otherwise. So I just wanted to make mention of that. I had another guest scheduled tonight, but unfortunately Murray Elchitz could not make it. He is another person that was involved in the computer show. He's a partner with the LC Group, and he was kind enough to set all the booths up and give me space. I've been involved in a few computer shows. There was another one called Computer Focus 92, which I also attended, and there's other areas I've been involved with Murray, such as he was the member of the Muddy Waters User Group. I participated in the flea markets too, promoting All About Computers show. So Murray has also been a big supporter, and unfortunately Murray couldn't be here tonight to give his comments, but if he did, I know he would feel quite sadly that my show is leaving the air, as long as all the other shows too, but that he really saw my show is a great value to the community. It was very timely show. It was I was always on top of the latest technologies, and I was just basically an information person to get information from point A to point B, because if you feel that not everybody goes and picks up newspapers and read newspapers or magazines, and maybe their only outlet is to watch TV, so that's why I basically put a TV show like this together. And just in another note too, is I actually checked around different parts of the country. I contacted various cable stations in Ontario, in Thunder Bay and Atikokan, also in Brandon, Manitoba, and I found by contacting these other places that they didn't really have this type of programming out there. A lot of places out there, they're basically do text-based programming, which is just announcements text-wise, and they don't really have much live programming like this. So I felt when I came to them and said, well, gee, I do a TV show on computers out there with live demos and guests and coverage of trade shows, they said, wow, isn't that interesting? And I then put on a message on the bulletin board where actually I did find to that there was a person down in Hamilton, Ontario, that he does a computer show down there, and there was another person out of Vancouver, BC, and he also does a computer show, both on public access TV. But there's not a lot of people out there, mainly because, like I mentioned before, because first of all, it does require a lot of time, and if you're a full-time working person, it will cut into your time. Second of all, you have to be ambitious, and you sort of have to be a go-getter and go get the guests and book them, and there's a lot of logistics involved. So it's not as simple as you might think it is. It requires a bit of hard work and effort, but once you see the final end product, the viewers really appreciate the work that you've done. And I know most people I've talked to have appreciated all the hard work I've done. I had a chance to talk to a lot of people at the computer show. They all complimented me on how invaluable the show was, that they hoped it would be continuing, and unfortunately it won't be able to. But at any rate, I try to do my best to keep the public informed, and I also try to be a non-biased person. Sometimes you don't want to lean one way or the other towards a certain type of computer or a certain type of software, and you have to be on neutral ground. And that's one thing I have learned over the years, being in this broadcasting industry, that you cannot be biased, because you will get people reply back and they don't want you to see lean one way or the other. So I have tried to be neutral over the past years. I sometimes have swayed in some ways to be more PC orientated. That's only because I know the PC better than I know Macs or Amigas or Ataris. So I felt that there was more possibility of people understanding PCs, being that has a larger share of the market than Amigas or Macs, and not to say that those are bad computers and they have their purpose too. So I try to be fair whenever I could. I just want to cut now to a Windows SIG video that we have going. It will run now, if we can show the video on Windows. September last year, we're growing in size quite a bit. We've had anywhere between an average of about 25 to 30 people out. We've had a maximum of about 250 to over 300 people out to some of our meetings, where we sometimes will combine with the Winnipeg PC User Group and join forces, and through the Windows Special Interest Group we'll put on a major presentation. So we're also working with another group, Machinations, that they will be bringing vendors in and we'll be going jointly having meetings with them. So in some meetings you may see Mac people here mixed together with PC people, and I hope that wouldn't cause any conflicts at all. So we'll try that, because a lot of the vendors say they will not come out for the size of their group, being 20 people, but if we can bring 200 people here for our group and they bring their 20, then they'll definitely come out. So we felt, well, why not? If they're starting out small club, why not work together instead of work against each other? I want to also mention about the room here. Off to the left side here, we have what's called a resource library table. On the table, you'll find different magazines that you can find on Windows in case you're a new user and you may not know about these magazines. We also have different books on Windows, and I have one product here you can actually buy as an add-on to Windows. It's called the Windows Resource Kit. Okay, and I've just got the book here that if you want to take a look at it, by all means. And different vendors have brought in brochures on their products. Like we have Quorum's got some brochures here. We also have some brochures here by Maximizer, some freebie booklets to hand out, and there are different books for sale. So if you want to browse at the brochures and some business cards here, that's fine. I also want to acknowledge the very generous contribution of Advanced Electronics. That was a little bit of talk about the Windows SIG group. On October the 7th, we are going to bring out a major vendor, Symantec Corporation. Carla Kurczynski is flying in from Toronto. She's going to be talking about new development tools, C++, Pascal, etc., and we'll answer all your questions on their line of software products. Now, food and drinks are available. There are major door prize giveaways scheduled, and the location is 764 Aaron Street in the Scandinavian Cultural Centre. You can phone me at 775-3548 if you wish to have information on that group. And I just want to make mention too that you will see me in the future that I will probably be going into a radio program or perhaps onto another Access TV station, and maybe from time to time I will be checking back at video on cable. You can phone 287-4567 if you have any comments about the show. And I just want to make mention too that Bill would like to say something in closing.
Well, I just thought it was interesting. When you started your show, I didn't even own a computer, and now I'm a system operator of a bulletin board system. And I think on behalf of the BBS community, Barry, thanks very much for all the publicity you've given it.
Okay. And in closing, I have advertised the computer show on all the BBSs in the city. If you would like to learn more about BBSs, give me a call at 775-3548. I'm very versed in BBSs, and I've actually set up classes on beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So if you want to explore the whole world, talk to me, give me a call. I'll be happy to help you as much as I can. I would like to thank Videon for the opportunity to learn so much about broadcasting, what public access community TV is all about, and wish they could have reconsidered about ending the show. And again, if you want to write a letter to 657 Stafford Street or call the viewership response line at 287-4567, I'm sure they'd be happy to hear your comments. I will probably be running the Windows Special Interest Group. I am probably be going into radio soon, and I will be going on to other Access TV stations. I would like to give a final thanks to all my viewers that watched the show, called in, or dropped by my booth at the computer show and filled out my survey. And I'm going to make a draw for some prizes for the ones that filled out the survey in closing. Robert, if you'd like to draw out 3 names there. We're just going to make a closing draw quickly, and I'm going to read out the names of 3 winners here. We have Jim Scott at 286 Lindbrook Drive. You have won a CICA Microsoft Windows CD-ROM. Stephen Berg at Box 40 Clevefield, Manitoba. You have won a Meg of Month shareware disc.
The final one.
And the final name that will be drawn is Wayne Moth, and 269-5753 is your home phone number, and you have won a mousepad, and you'll be contacted, and the prizes will be at the studio to pick up. Okay? So in closing, I thank you, the audience, and offer a toast to you watching my show, and I hope to see you in the near future. I may be back. Thanks for watching, and I hope to help you learn all about computers.
Wish
See you
luck.
again.
Wish you luck, Barry.
Best of luck.
Dragon Booster will be out of a job. Someone's coming.
Well, well. What have we here? The Geek and the Pipsqueak